Several years ago, we worked with Las Hermanas in Nicaragua and helped develop a program with them for access to market of natural coffees. Nicaraguan naturals are a relatively new product in the world of specialty coffee. Honeys and anaerobics and naturals and things have been happening in other parts of the world, but not so much Central America till maybe the last 4 or 5 years. So we helped with Las Hermanas build some solar tunnel dryers and installed some raised beds similar to the East African method. And then a select group of women were included in the natural process, and they were able to harvest the coffee and process it into the natural coffee, which is what we have here. Some of you would wonder, what is the difference between washed coffee and natural coffee? And what we have here is an example of a miniature raised bed that we created to dry some coffee we grow here in San Diego. So what's happening right here is we've grown the coffee, we picked the cherries, and we basically put them on top of this screen bed where the airflow can come from the above and below. And we're now fermenting the coffee with all the fruit pulp mucilage intact. So the seeds are now given 100% fermentation with all the coffee fruit mucilage. So the difference then would be in a washed coffee, we would strip all this fruit mucilage off prior to the fermentation process. We'd use water to soak the coffee in and ferment the coffee in a more controlled manner. The results would be something like this, which is washed Nicaraguan coffee versus unwashed natural process Nicaraguan. You can see just from the color difference, you know, the fermentation process and all the fruit pulp that dries onto the seed imparts a flavor and a color and a distinctness to the coffee. So for me, having the option to have all manner of coffee all the time, I do tend to oscillate. I will prefer a nice washed coffee if I'm gonna have something, if it were maybe a little bit softer for a proper filter coffee or Chemex, where I want to have a nice clean finish and a pleasant aftertaste and things like that. When I choose a natural coffee, oftentimes I'm looking for something with a little more fruit and body. I do like natural coffees pulled as an espresso. Personally, I like a dark roast natural coffee. I find that that really brings out some of the deeper fruit notes. The modern trend certainly is to maintain the terroir of the natural coffee and keep it at a little bit lighter roast. So we are roasting the Nicaraguan natural a little bit lighter than the more full city roast of the washed coffees. They're both grown at high altitude and hand-picked, so there's not an issue with that. It's just the way the fermentation happens makes a slightly different technique in the roasting process. So if I wanted a nice iced coffee with some heavy fruit notes, I'd go with a natural process. If I want to just have a nice, clean, smooth finish, I might have a more balanced washed coffee.